Hello, everyone. It is 4 o'clock. We're here at the PUB office building. It is 4 o'clock, and we're going to start our Finance Committee. We have a quorum, so I'd like to call the meeting to order. There any public comments?
No public comments.
No public comments. We have number one on the agenda item, presentation and discussion of the Brownsville Public Utilities Board's financial performance report for the period ending February 28th, 2026.
Hello, good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name is George Rangel. I am the Acting Finance Director, reporting to the Chief Financial Officer. I'm going to be presenting the financial performance report as of February 28th, 2026. So here you'll see an executive summary. The finance group has 7 metrics that we monitor, each of them with their own gauge. Green obviously means good, yellow means that there's something that we have to watch out for, and then red means that there's something not good happening. And so we'll start off at the top left-hand, flow of funds. For February 28th, 2026, BPUB has generated $2.8 million to replenish the improvement fund, giving us a debt service coverage of 1.99 times, which is well above the 1.25 minimum requirements. The FPEC has generated an over-recovery of $21.22 million as of February 28th, and these will obviously be used to offset future market uncertainty. For the month of February, the rate was set at 0.03862. The COB cash transfer right now is higher than budgeted due to a lower FPEC rate. The personnel and non-personnel expenses came in lower than budgeted, primarily due to some current vacancies and some timing issues. And then BPUB's average bill is lower than both the average MOU bill and the average IOU bill for 1,000 kWh. Based on the current FPEC rate, BPUB's average bill is at $99.69. On our CIP year-to-date actuals, we have, and committed, we have $22.2 million and $28.5 respectively, and that represents a 56.5% of the total approved plan for fiscal year 2026. And then all financial key metrics are currently in compliance. Moving on to the next page, we have a condensed statement of revenue, expenses, and changes in net position, and these were developed in accordance to generally accepting accounting principles. I'm going to be reporting on the February 2026 column. Starting on line number 1, operating revenues were at $89,972,000. To that, we back out our operating expenses of $78,018,000, leaving us with an operating income of $11,953,000. Backing out our non-operating expenses of $7,861,000 gives us an income before capital contributions of $4,092,000. Adding in our capital contributions of $6,159,000 gives us a change in net position of $10,251,000. We add that to the net position at the beginning of the fiscal year, gives us a net position at the end of the period of $521,078,000. Next, we have a condensed summary of revenues and expenses, what we call our flow of funds, and these were compiled in accordance to a bond ordinance. And so I'm going to be concentrating on the middle column, labeled fiscal February 2026 year-to-date actuals. And so operating revenues came in at $84,307,000. We add in other revenues of $11,114,000, gives us gross revenues of $95,421,000. We back out our fuel and SRWA expenses of $26,677,000, gives us the adjusted gross revenues of $68,744,000. And that number is the number that we use to calculate the cash transfer over to the city, which is entitled to 10% of that number. We back out other requirements, which include our O&M, our non-operating expenses, and debt service. Gives us a $56,277,000, gives us the balance available after requirements of $12,467,000. Backing out the total cash utility benefit to the city of Brownsville of $6,874,000 gives us balance available for internal transfers of $5,592,000. Less our internal transfers of $2,738,000 gives us an improvement fund replenishment of $2,854,000. Again, our debt service coverage ratio is at 1.99 times, which is way above our 1.25 minimum requirement. That's my report. I don't know if y'all have any questions.
No, I don't have any questions.
Thank you all.
Move on to item number 2, presentation discussion of the GIS data migration and ESRI's utility network request for proposal summary and recommendation.
Hi, good afternoon, members of the committee. My name is Ruben Cano. I am the GIS manager for BPUB. And I'm going to be presenting our RFP that went out and our results and recommendations for vendor selection. The project was GIS data. The GIS overview is the first item on the agenda. We'll go over what strategic business plan initiatives this covers, the evaluation team, the evaluation process, and then the recommended solution. So GIS overview, for those that don't know what GIS is, it connects data to a map. So you see maps, Google Maps. What GIS does is connects data to those maps. So in the case of BPUB, we have utilities, what size are the water lines, et cetera. And this helps us make improve communication, improve efficiency, management, and aids in decision making. How is it used at PUB? Well, it's used to maintain a digital inventory of utility infrastructure and map out the location of our infrastructure. It's used for outage management and mapping of electric and water outage locations. Its features and attributes are stored in the GIS, and they're used by various systems to support modeling, management of assets, and aid in the decision-making process. And on the right there, you can see some of the different areas that are touched by the GIS. We do contribute a lot to other systems, like engineering, our CityWorks, which is our asset management, engineering modeling, operations, and so on. So why is this project needed? Well, we need to migrate this data from Esri, which is they're the vendor that we use for our GIS software. Esri is the top right now in GIS. We use them. We've used them for a long time here at BPUB. Unfortunately, and fortunately, they've made improvements to their system, their network models for GIS. And part of that is we need to get to that next level of their geometric, going from the geometric network, which is their old model, to the new utility network model, which is more advanced and can support higher-end modeling and more real-world representation of what we have in the field, in the computer, so that we can make better decisions. So again, just a little bit back and forth between the geometric network and the utility network. Geometric network is retired. There's no vendor support, so that's the important piece here also. So if we were to continue with the geometric network the way we are, if we were to have issues and we call support from Esri, we are not going to get that support because they no longer support the model that we're on. So it's very important to get over to the utility network, which is a new data model with full vendor support. The geometric network is a simple data model, less representative of the real world, whereas the utility network is more complex and more representative. The geometric network is a 2D visualization. It's unable to model more complex equipment that we have out in the field. Whereas the utility network can support 3D, you can model equipment inside of a container and structural attachments like to poles and other things like that. Geometric network is simple tracing, and what I mean by tracing is like on the electric system, we can trace from the substation to a meter point to see how the electricity flows. So in the geometric network, that's more simple, whereas in the utility network, we can do a little more complex tracing. So strategic business plan initiatives, what does this cover as far as the goal of this project? One of them is SSD 9, Initiative 24. BPUB will invest in GIS and asset management systems, staff training, and policy monitoring to support long-term readiness and ensure BPUB remains informed of regulatory and market developments. It also meets SSD 13, Initiative 29, where we will develop a comprehensive technology roadmap that identifies all mission-critical systems, AMI, OMS, GIS, and Banner, assesses the current state and integration gaps, and prioritizes future enterprise technology investments over the 5-year horizon. And also SSD 15, Initiative 32, which will implement a modern GIS integrated OMS that leverages real-time telemetry from the upgraded SCADA system to enable advanced outage detection. So this advanced GIS will support the OMS that we're planning to implement in the future. So evaluation team, since this is mostly a GIS project, I have my SMEs in the GIS department. So it was myself, Francisca Caez, a senior GIS specialist with over 20 years of experience in BPUB and GIS. David Tavares, also 20 plus years of experience in GIS. Marco Jimenez, close to 10 years of experience in GIS. And then Diane Solitaire, purchasing manager, was part of the team as well. So going through the process and the RFP, it was drafted, it was published, we did receive proposals, we evaluated those proposals, we interviewed the top 3 vendors based on our scoring, and then we did our final due diligence and now we're doing our vendor recommendation. So proposal invitation was advertised in the Brownsville Herald and also on the BidNet website. It was emailed to 32 vendors with 10 vendors responding. BPUB narrowed the candidates from 10 to 3 based on evaluation of the proposals. And then shortlist interviews were made with the remaining candidates, the 3 top candidates, and those were held the week of February 16th. So you can see here a list of the vendors, the proposers on the left, shortlisted on the right, meaning that based on their RFP proposal, we were able to determine that they either met qualifications, they were under budget, things like that. So we shortlisted the top 3 just to give them another interview, just to get any more questions out of the way. What was the criteria? Well, one, were they able to meet key objectives stated in the scope of services? The other one was references and customer referrals. The third was the ability to meet BPUB's schedule. And then the fourth, competitive price for the proposed scope of work. And finally, to our recommended solution. So based off of all that work that we did, the interviews, we met on February 18th to discuss the shortlist interviews. We allowed time for vendors to submit responses to our additional questions. We did receive those additional responses from the vendors, and the dates are listed there when we received those. After looking at everything all together, pricing, their qualifications, vendor recommendations, customer recommendations, we decided to choose Timmins Group as the preferred vendor, and that's what we're recommending to the committee. And the reason for that, the biggest reason, is they have comprehensive Esri experience. They've done this type of project for over 80 utilities, and they have over 35 clients that they still support and more. They're an Esri Go partner, so that means that they've reached a high level of support with Esri. They were awarded the Utility Network Implementation Award at the 2023 IMGIS conference, which is an Esri conference. And they are utility network certified. So that's really big for this project because that's what they're going to be doing for us, is getting us to the utility network. They also have comprehensive Trimble experience, which a lot of the other proposers did not have, especially some on the short list. They didn't have that experience to tie in. Since our GIS ties in with a lot of different systems, it was important to have that CityWorks experience because it is a big part of our organization and what we do here. So they're a platinum partner with CityWorks, so again, a higher level partner. They have expertise in integration with our GIS, and then expertise in implementations and upgrades of CityWorks as well. This is the cost proposal sheet. So this is what we sent out on the RFP. These are the different milestones that we outlined. This is their total. The core ones are on the top, and then we had some additional services that we recommended or requested, and those are the additional costs there. We would like to take advantage of those add-on services because these are things that are going to help us have a successful rollout and go live. So total cost there is listed $528,430. That is under the approved CIP budget for this project that was approved in fiscal year 26. So next steps, hopefully with your support, present this at the board meeting. We'll deliver our final recommendation, and then following directions, we'll proceed with vendor negotiations of contracts and payment and performance terms. Any questions?
No questions. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Obviously, we value your recommendation. So, yeah, I don't have any questions.
I mean, can, in terms of pricing, I know that was only one of the criteria, but where do they rank in terms of their pricing
Pricing, this vendor was actually,
out of the three?
out of the three, they were lower than the other. One was lower on pricing, but they didn't have the experience in the CityWorks. So that was a crucial part of this. They hadn't had enough experience with the implementations of this utility network for electric utilities, which electric is a big part, obviously, because that's going to tie into our OMS. That's going to tie into a lot of the modeling software we use. So without that experience, that other vendor that was lower in cost, we just didn't feel comfortable including them in the final selection.
So were they in the middle then?
They were in the middle, yes. There was, out of the three, one was lower, and they're the ones that didn't have enough qualifications in our view. The other one was higher, and so they were mid, correct.
Okay, very good. No other questions. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Item number 3, presentation discussion of the yearly subscription agreement of the SmartWorks program for the advanced metering infrastructure project.
Good afternoon, committee members. I'm not Eddie Hernandez. I'm Jaime Aguilar, Division Manager for Enterprise Solutions and also the Project Manager for AMI. I'm here to present on the SmartWorks Meter Data Management System. This is the software that we procured as part of the AMI project. We're actually in year 3 of the software, so I'm here presenting that particular software. It's up for renewal for year 3. Right off the bat, I want to get started with what exactly SmartWorks, where does it lie within our entire infrastructure as far as software? You can see, according to this chart, it's right in the middle. So basically, our electric data from our head-end system for Landis & Gear, and our water data from the head-end system from the Badger side. All that readings, the interval reads, the 15-minute reads, they get collected into SmartWorks. Essentially, SmartWorks, our meter data management system, we're able to do analytics. We can do reporting, validation and processing on the reads, making sure that the reads that we're collecting, they're in par with their consumption. And then they also do service order automation. So this is actually the system that allows us to remote disconnect and reconnect meters. It allows us to validate and act on any alarms and alerts. This particular system, the SmartWorks system, after the reads come in, it in turn sends it over to our customer information system, which is our billing system, Cayenta in this case. So it's right in the middle between the data that we're collecting from the AMI, and it goes into the CIS system. SmartWorks also delivers that information over to our SilverBlaze, our customer engagement portal. And on that note, I'm happy to report that yesterday we went live with that particular product. And then in turn, that's where the customers interact with being able to view their consumption on a more granular basis. So again, our meter data management system, even though this is year 3 for our subscription, for our annual subscription, we did go live with the system in October 31st on Halloween. I can report that we've been actually using it, doing the whole meter to cash process where we're picking up reads from out in the field. We're processing those reads through the meter data management system, and in turn, we're sending it to our CIS for billing. So we are using the system in its full form. In addition to, we're also processing service order automations. And again, all the service orders that the system can handle, I think we're up to about 100 service orders per day that we're still processing. The system is able to essentially effectively automate that process. As part of your packets, the annual subscription is $198,000. This year we'll be reducing it from our contingency fund. We do have $1.4 million in contingency. So after we pay for this year 3, we'll be left with roughly around $1.2 million. And there is a note at the bottom that in talking with our finance department, it looks like we are able to, based on the new accounting rules, we're able to capitalize the software as a service. Pretty short.
Yeah, as far as capitalizing that, you would break that 200,000 más o menos over a longer period of time, or how are you reflecting that in the financials? I'm not sure. Is that a benefit to us?
Yeah, we'll be depreciating the item over however many years, 15, 20 years. the useful life of
The
the.
software? This
Or-
is software, right?
It's software.
Isn't
Yeah, that's what-
software typically like? 3
That's
to
what it
5
says
years?
there, which requires
So
capitalization.
whatever the requirement is.
It's over the life of the contract. So if the contract is 198,000 for the 3 years, then it'll be depreciated over the life of that contract for 3 years.
Okay.
But didn't, okay, and I was kind of focusing on the hardware part, not necessarily the software. But when we took on this project, wasn't the software already part of the approved plan?
Yes. As part of our budget, we included the first 2 years as to capitalize as we're implementing the system. Year 3 and on, typically, we would O&M it. We would put it in the O&M budget. But this new GASB rule, which we actually just met on today, it was explained to us that software as a service is allowed to be capitalized. So long story short, accounting came back to us and said, hey, you need to capitalize this. And since we hadn't budgeted year 3 on, that's why it's coming out. We said, okay, well, I've got the money in contingency and we'll pay for it there.
Okay.
But it's a new accounting rule.
Okay. Just a couple of follow-up questions?
Sure.
So the 198,000, is that annual or is that over the 3 years?
Annual.
Okay.
So this is going to be every year for the next 20 years.
Yeah, so I'll leave it up to you guys to figure out how you can do that. I mean, seems like 600,000, you do it for 3 years, you expense it, or you, I mean, how are you gonna capitalize an annual expense when it's that way? And I'll let you guys figure that out. I mean, I don't know that part. I don't. And then my other question was the subscription did this go up in price compared to the first 2 years?
No, it's been
It's the same price, there's no up in
Because we're
price.
still under contract, it's the same flat price.
Yeah, and then what happens after 3 years, though?
So the way the contract's written is, it goes based off the number of meters. So based on number of meters that we've contracted, for example, if we exponentially increase the number of meters out in the field that we're collecting data, that price might fluctuate a bit, plus or minus 2-3%. But so far, we've seen it since the beginning of the project that it's been pretty flat for the first 3 years at least.
Okay, so just, yeah, I think it's just important for 3 years goes by like super quick, right? You know, and at the end of 3 years, I just don't want to get a sticker shock on to kind of hold us hostage with this. I'm assuming this price includes all of the consulting, any type of, maintenance as required, if they have pushing out an upgrade or anything, like it's all inclusive where there's no other charges that we would have to pay?
This being a software as a service, yes, the vendor's responsible for any updates, patching as it relates to the software itself, because we're just essentially leasing the software from them.
Right. Okay.
So, just to explain that, historically, we have the servers here. It's kind of like when you buy a machine at Best Buy, and it has Microsoft Office on it. You pay that license once when you buy it, and then you can upgrade it if you choose 2 or 3 years later, and you would pay then. With software as a service, it works differently. All the hardware that it rides on, the software itself, all the patches, all the upgrades are actually over there. We're just accessing it, and they maintain everything. They do
Okay.
all the patching, they do all the upgrades, they do everything. So we're kind of, and that's what we mean by renting it.
I understand. And then my other question is that if, let's say in 3 years that something happens and we decide to go with another software vendor, I mean, in other words, the hardware that we have, is that possible, or are we kind of stuck with this or a handful of companies?
So it's agnostic in the sense that since we do have 2 different head-end systems, Badger and Lansing Gear, they're able to merge into or migrate into a different meter data management system.
Okay.
The good thing in this particular project is that it's a Harris company. We already have some of their systems already in place. That's what makes it easy for that integration, but that's not to say if one time we feel like, there might be another product that might give us a better service or better opportunities. We have that opportunity to potentially migrate over to a different system. So we're not technically locked into it. However, it is a huge benefit for them to be under the same umbrella as the other systems that we currently have.
Yeah, I mean, I have no, the accounting, I don't want to bring that up again, but if we don't own it and we're just kind of tapping into it as a service and they're responsible for everything, and you have to pay an annual fee of $200,000 at the end of 3 years, you don't have access to anymore. why won't you just expense $200,000 and what's the whole capitalization issue? That's what doesn't make sense to me. Right, Mike?
We'll need to revisit this Gatsby 96 and then get into the intricacies of accounting for it.
Can you capitalize something you don't own but you're renting?
According to this Gatsby, we're allowed to now. This is a new Gatsby.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Mr. Chair, before we proceed, are we okay putting this item under consent, or do you want it to be presented to the full board?
If your price is not going up, you really don't have a choice, it's 3 years. I don't really see the decision in terms of, like, we're not approving anything new, or are we? I mean,
No.
all you're doing is
No,
you're
no,
presenting
it's-
this for an
it's a
accounting treatment.
continuation.
But I think your accounting treatment, I think at the end of the day, you know, my thoughts are on that, but you guys are the experts, so, but what do you think? Mr.
Yeah, no, I think it can be on consent. I would just say that, and obviously this was unforeseen, right? It's another change, but let's still try and stay within the contingency budget. I'm sure there's other things
Yeah.
that are gonna be coming up. So, we're still within it, right? So I think everyone is okay, you know, with the project scope. But yeah, just going forward, if there's other stuff, just, if we do get out of our budget, then I would say, yeah, that'll probably prompt some more discussions or whatever, but yeah, no, I'm good. Consent?
I think I'm good with consent too, because the price isn't increasing from years 1 and 2, correct?
Correct.
So it's not, if the price was increasing, then I would say, let's go ahead and put it on the agenda.
No, and the plan was to, I mean, we were going to pay the 198 any way you look at it. It's just, is it O&M or is it capital? And we were just, from a project perspective, we were caught off guard that this Gatsby rule came out and that it was going to be capital. Luckily, we're still well within our contingency, so I said, okay, we'll pay for it. If that's what's best for PUB, then that's fine. But it was going to be paid for one way or the other.
Sounds great. All
All
right.
right.
Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Chair, again, the previous item, the GIS item, are you all okay as well to take this under consent?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay, thank you.
You okay with that?
Mm-hmm, yes.
Okay. Item number 4, presentation and discussion of the annual debt obligations post-issuance compliance certification by the CFO.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee member. Jorge Santillan, Finance Manager. BPUB's debt obligation post-issuance compliance and procedures require that the Chief Financial Officer certify on an annual basis that all 14 major provisions of the policy and procedures are in compliance when applicable. This is to ensure our debt obligations retain their tax-exempt status as well as compliance with continuing disclosure requirements. And we ensure compliance by working together with our financial advisor as well as our bond counsel. At this time, we present the CFO certification for fiscal year 2025, certifying that BPUB was in full compliance with its debt obligations post-issuance compliance policy and procedures. And this is only for informational purposes only, and also we plan to present it at the next board meeting, also for informational purposes only. Any questions?
I don't have any.
Thank you.
Okay, that's all the agenda items. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn.
Okay, I'll second that. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.